Arata is a rich, lonely, miserable V-card holder, but one day, his dad changes his fate by saying,
"You're all adopted!"
Now he has 5 step-sisters. They all are falling for him one by one. So he starts taking clapping sessions with all of them one by one. The whole thing kicks off with Arata, who is a disgusting isolated user, begging his younger brother Shion to teach him how to riz up the baddies, so he can open account in any girl's heart.
What?
Because he is still lonely loser with his V-card is never used just like you guys. While Shion's already achieved a playboy status at school, Shion tells him he is overthinking it, and says someone like Arata could easily get attention from girls anyway, especially since he is the future head of our rich family. But Arata is not interested in random baddie. He keeps going on about wanting something real love and meaningful instead. Later, he tries to go see his crush, even though he is way too nervous to actually tell her how he feels. But the second he finds out she already has a boyfriend, his whole mood falls apart, and his mind goes in deep coma. A few days later, it is Kotono's birthday, so Arata gets ready for the family dinner. When he gets to the table, everyone is already there. He sees Banri, the oldest and most hottest sister, Oka, who always comes off intense, Minami, the sports athlete of the family, Seiha, the smart one, and Kotono, the quiet and gentle sister whose birthday they are celebrating. Then their father, Kaname, walks in. They all raise a toast for Kotono, but right after that, Kaname suddenly reveals something unbelievable. He tells them that everyone in the family was adopted except Minami and Shion, who are actual twins. Of course, the room instantly turns tense and everybody's mind is blasted. Nobody knows what to say. Arata asks what he means, and Kaname explains that he made a promise to their mother to keep it secret until the time felt right. Then, somehow, he just keeps eating like he did not completely turn their world upside down, while the rest of them sit there frozen in shock. After dinner, they all admit the truth hurts and that they feel lied to. But they also understand their father was trying to honor a promise. Then they ask Banri if she knew anything, since she is the oldest. But Banri says she barely remembers much from when they were little. Even so, she says this should not erase everything they have shared as a family. After thinking it over, the others agree and head back inside. A little later, Arata is alone in his room, still unable to stop thinking about everything. To clear his head, he decides to take a bath. When he gets there, he notices his sister's laundry and nearly lets his thoughts go in dirty stupid thing, but he stops himself. Then he walks into the bathroom and is stunned to find Kotono there. She gets embarrassed, he gets embarrassed, and he quickly apologizes and reaches for a towel so he can leave. But before he goes, Kotono asks him to wash her plot before you use.
What?
Sorry guys, I mean she asked him to wash her back, just like he used to when they were kids. While Arata awkwardly tries to help without letting his mind goes crazy wild, Shion runs into Oka elsewhere. Oka admits she is worried about how Arata is handling the truth. Shion tells her not to stress, because Arata is not the kind of person who would suddenly stop thinking of them as family. Back in the bath, though, things get even more tense when Kotono suddenly hugs Arata, completely throwing him off. He starts panicking right away. At the same time, Shion casually tells Oka that, since they are not actually related, marriage would technically be possible now. Oka is instantly grossed out and says she would rather being a single hole than ever ended up with him or Arata.
Emotional damage!
Even so, Oka knows things between them will never feel exactly the same again. So she asks Shion what actually went down between Arata and Kotono. He explains that a few weeks earlier, Kotono suddenly told Arata how she felt while they were in the game room. Just like anyone would expect, Arata tried to get out of there right away, thinking it was completely wrong for her to say that about someone she believed was her brother. But Kotono would not let him leave until he answered her. Right then, the others walked in and misunderstood the scene because of the scene looked like a clapping session is going on. That makes Oka even more uneasy. Now that they know they are not really related, she worries Kotono might hold on to those feelings even more strongly. Meanwhile, back in the bath, Arata is barely keeping himself together because Kotono still will not let go of him. She ends up confessing again, but this time Arata clearly tells her that nothing can happen between them. Tell me in the comments how he can say this thing when his little Johnny is standing.
No! God, please, no! No!
Even when she refuses to back down, he says he will still look after her because something is clearly off with the way she is thinking right now. Then he decides to stay quiet about the whole incident and leaves, while Kotono remains behind feeling heartbroken. At the same time, Banri heads to their father's office to talk things out. Arata goes back to his room, where he finds Seiha waiting. She asks where he has been, and he quickly says he just went for a walk, but she can tell he is lying. Instead of calling him out, she starts bringing up random memories from their childhood, which throws him off because she is not the type to chat for no reason. Then, she suddenly leans in close and watches his reaction while he struggles to stay calm, because the view of mountains is very beautiful.
Lord have mercy.
After pulling back, she praises him for keeping himself under control. Confused, Arata asks why she did that, and Seiha admits she was in the bath earlier and saw Kotono hug him, since he turned Kotono down like he should have. She wanted to confirm he was not starting to see his sisters differently. It was all a test, and he passed. She says Kotono probably found the courage to try again because of what their father revealed. After praising him one more time, she leaves, while Arata starts wondering why he keeps getting dragged into these impossible situations. Once outside his room, Seiha pauses to calm herself down. Then Minami appears and asks what she is doing, but Seiha brushes it off and walks away. The next morning, Arata is still stuck thinking about everything, though he gets ready for school anyway. On the way out, he runs into Banri and Kotono wearing naughty nurse outfits. Banri asks what he thinks, but his mind is already thinking how to become a doctor. Sorry guy, but the whole thing catches him so off guard that she quickly apologizes. A little later, everyone heads out, and Shion tells Arata not to read too much into it, since Banri was probably just trying to make things feel normal again. As they walk, some boys nearby start talking about how beautiful the girls are, which makes Shion wonder what will happen if the truth about their family ever gets out. Arata starts stressing again too, but when he looks at the girls, they seem totally normal, like nothing even happened. Later, while packing up at his locker, Arata runs into Minami. She says her coach gave her the day off, so she can focus on studying and fix her grades. Realizing she seriously needs help, Arata offers to tutor her. They end up at a restaurant, but no matter how hard he tries to teach, Minami keeps getting distracted by everything around her. Before long, Arata gives up for the day by thinking, I'm definitely not her brother. On the way out, he spots his crush with her new boyfriend. I think guys, she is changing boyfriends like clothes. Describe her in one word in the comments, and he immediately hides. Minami notices right away. As they keep walking, she starts talking about what their father said, which makes Arata nervous at first. But when she says she is really worried about how Kotono and the others are handling it, he starts seeing her in a better light again. Then she casually tells him to stop being so down, because the girl he liked already having a boyfriend is not the end of the world. Arata gets embarrassed and asks how she found out, and Minami says Oka already spilled everything about his sad lonely love life, which is worse than your love life guys.
Emotional damage!
That evening, Minami hands Oka the dessert set she had been wanting for ages, along with the AirPods she misplaced before. Oka appreciates that Minami admitted what happened and, after hearing her out, tells her she can just keep the earbuds. A few days after that, Arata is getting himself ready for school when he crosses paths with Kotono. This time, she simply says good morning and keeps it together, which surprises him. Once she walks off, he starts to think maybe her crush has finally cooled down. Right then, Seiha appears out of nowhere and catches him by surprise. She jokingly tells him he should use the usual sweet way of talking to her, but Arata brushes past that and quickly explains that nothing strange is happening with Kotono. Since Seiha clearly saw their quick exchange, Seiha accepts that answer, and then Minami suddenly jumps into the scene, loud and full of chaotic energy like she has already been awake for hours. Later on at school, Arata notices his crush and immediately avoids going near her again, because this time she is busy a baddie.
Stop it. Get some help.
A second later, Oka sneaks up beside him and softly says, I love you, straight into his ear.
What?
He nearly loses it, thinking how to not evolve in stepbro and stepsister love story. But Oka tells him to try, saying those exact words to his crush instead of just staring from a distance, because maybe things could actually work out. Arata refuses right away and points out that the girl already has a boyfriend. Even so, Oka tells him to stop acting pathetic, lonely loser, and take a real shot instead of creeping around from far away. Just like you guys, who can use their shot on his crush. A moment later, Oka's friends call her over, so she leaves him and joins them. As Arata watches from the side, he realizes the other girls treat Oka like she is some kind of celebrity. For a second, he wonders what would happen if he told them how intense and difficult she really is. But the thought of Oka finding out kills that idea instantly. Then one of the girls glances at Arata and comments that he is actually pretty good looking. Another jokes that maybe one of them should ask him out. Oka immediately starts listing all the reasons he would make a terrible boyfriend, but when her face starts turning red, the others catch it right away. She quickly changes the subject and heads off to class. Some days later, the whole family goes to the park for Kotano's birthday outing. Banri tells everyone to behave for once, so the day can actually stay peaceful and fun for Kotano. Not long after, a mascot appears nearby, and Minami and Oka immediately run after it. Banri and Arata decide to go grab snacks for everyone and tell the others not to wander away while they are gone. Only a few minutes later, they come back and find the place completely empty. Nobody is there. Arata tries calling Shion, but there is no reply. Banri then playfully suggests the two of them treat it like a date. But Arata shuts that down right away and reminds her the whole point of the outing was to celebrate Kotano. Banri tells him they are bound to run into the others sooner or later anyway, then pulls him along with her. As they walk, Arata becomes painfully aware of how close she is, and that only makes him more nervous when he sees two bouncy balls. Banri notices and starts teasing him about it, while he desperately tries to act normal. But guys, I think Banri is eldest sister, and if you know why, tell me in the comments.
What do you mean by that?
As she keeps messing with him, Arata steps back and notices that plenty of other guys in the park are staring at Banri too, because guys, they want to study the jiggle physics behind. She seems completely unaware of it and keeps talking like nothing is happening. A little later, while they are heading up a staircase, Arata gets distracted again and ends up tripping. Banri does not even notice, since she is already focused on dragging him toward another attraction. This time, he cannot find a way out, so Arata forces himself through one scary ride after another while still trying to contact Shion and the others. Eventually, he finally manages to reach them. Shion tells the rest of the group where Arata and Banri are so everyone can meet back up, while the others start joking that Banri is probably using the chance to get extra close to Arata. Oka notices Kotano looking a little uneasy, and immediately changes the topic, before it gets worse. Meanwhile, Arata tells Banri they can finally head back and find everyone else, but she says they can wait until she finishes picking up some snacks. While they are still alone, Arata asks how she honestly feels about what their father revealed the other night. Banri finally admits that the truth has been weighing on her the whole time. Arata thinks about telling her what happened with Kotano and Seiya, but decides to keep both of those things to himself. Instead, he says he is mainly worried about whether their bond as siblings will stay the same. Banri gently pats his head and tells him not to overthink it. That moment reminds Arata that she has always taken care of all of them, almost like a second parent. Right then, a girl nearby accidentally spills her drink, and Arata quickly steps in to shield Banri from getting splashed. After that, he tells her he wants to help protect the rest of the family too. Soon after, Shion and the girls finally show up again. They get concerned the moment they see Arata is still soaked. Once the whole group is together again, Minami excitedly suggests that all of them go on another ride. Arata is already completely worn out and has no interest in getting tossed around again. But Banri grabs onto him and leaves him with no real chance to say no. Much later, once the rides are finally over, Arata, Shion, and Kotano head off to the restroom. While those three are gone, Seiha brings up Kotano's confession to the others. But nobody buys it at first, and they assume she is kidding. That changes fast when Seiha starts describing what happened in the bath the other night. The group immediately gets uneasy, because it is obvious Kotano has started taking her feelings way too seriously, because he browses all-day love stories. Not just like you, who is mindlessly scrolling. A few of them almost make it sound like Arata must have somehow led her on, but Seiha cuts that off right away. She explains that Arata is actually the one stuck in a bad situation, since Kotano basically cornered him in a moment that would have shaken almost anyone. But guys, I think I will shake her up and down. After Seiha defends him, Oka asks how she can be that confident. Seiha then admits she tested him herself by getting close on purpose, just to see how he would react. Banri is stunned that she actually went that far. I think she wants to break his joystick, but our protagonist is a top G. While Oka looks like she is questioning how this family became so unhinged. Banri tries to calm things down by saying Kotano is likely just going through a temporary emotional stage, like everyone does at some point. Minami agrees with that, and Seiha says they should keep the whole matter quiet so Kotono does not start feeling weird around the rest of them. But then Aoka reminds everyone about the earlier scene in the game room, and the atmosphere changes again. Now, the others start wondering if Kotono's feelings for Arata are more serious than they wanted to believe. Banri still insists it is probably only a passing thing, but the others are clearly not fully convinced. To support her point, Banri brings up the talk she had with their father after the family dinner that changed everything. He had explained that they all came from broken circumstances and ended up together because they had nowhere else to belong. Even with that in mind, the others argue that learning the truth may have made Kotono a lot bolder about chasing what she wants. In the end, they decide not to say anything for now, unless Kotono does something that clearly crosses the line again. A little while later, Arata comes back, and the whole group heads to a shop for one last round of browsing before leaving. While they are there, Arata suddenly spots someone who looks like the girl he likes and instantly stiffens. Aoka notices and steps in to pull his attention elsewhere by walking off with him. As they move away from the others, Oka points out that they are not truly twins after all, at least not by blood like they always believed. Arata tells her it does not matter, because in his mind she will always be his twin sister, no matter what. Aoka then starts bringing up all the small things they shared over the years, and the way they always felt connected without needing to say much. Arata has no clue where this sentimental conversation is heading, and then Aoka suddenly tells him she loves him. Earlier, Shion had asked Arata whether he had ever seen any of their sisters in that kind of way, but Arata rejected the idea immediately. He made it clear he had never wanted to blur that line. Shion apologized for telling Oka about what happened with Kotono, but he also told Arata not to worry, because Oka trusted that he would never stop seeing them as family. Arata had answered that the truth about their birth did not change anything for him, because they were still siblings in the only way that mattered. Shion then reminded him that people outside the family would not see it that way, which was why they had to keep the secret hidden for now. Back in the present, Oka says she is proud to have Arata as her twin brother. That is when it finally clicks for him that she was not confessing romantically at all. She was simply telling him, in her own awkward way, how much he means to her as a sister. Then she praises him for keeping himself under control when Kotono put him in such a difficult spot. Arata asks why she cannot be this gentle all the time. The second he says that, Oka snaps back to normal, gets flustered, yells at him, and storms off toward the women's restroom. The following day, Arata is in the family gym trying to do his ab workout in peace when Minami suddenly walks in. He is surprised, since she should already be at practice by then. At first, he gets excited, thinking they might train together and see some glutes workout. But Minami tells him to relax because she just happened to wake up early. She also asks why he works so hard when he is not even aiming to become an athlete. Arata explains he wants to be a playboy. Sorry guys, I mean his father got him into strict training when he was still young, so exercising just became part of his everyday life. Minami then remembers what happened the night before. While she was searching for Aoka, she happened to overhear Aoka telling Arata, "I love you." Since she walked away before hearing the rest, she never found out Oka meant it in a sibling way. Because of that, she has been overthinking it ever since and came here hoping to figure out what was really going on. Arata eventually notices that Minami is acting strange, but when he asks about it, she dodges the question by suddenly focusing on her workout. After dragging it out for a bit, Minami finally asks whether something happened between him and Oka. Arata has no idea what she is talking about, so Minami quickly tells him to forget it. After thinking it over, Arata assumes she might mean the tension they have had lately, so he apologizes in case any of it has been bothering her. Still feeling unsure, Minami thanks Arata for talking with her and leaves anyway. A little while later, Arata is still thinking about that weird conversation, but he decides to stop stressing and go shower. The moment he gets there, he catches Seiha changing right by the entrance. He instantly turns his face away, and after fighting with his weird thoughts in his mind, he asks if she forgot doors exist for a reason. Seiha asks why he is reacting like this when it is not like he has never seen her before. Arata tells her it has never happened this suddenly, which is a huge difference. Seiha apologizes and heads into the shower instead. As Arata steps in and sets his towel aside, he notices Seiha's ring and asks whether it fits properly, since she usually wears it around her neck instead of on her finger. Seiha says it is still a little loose, but because it is the most precious thing she has from their mother, she always removes it before bathing, so nothing happens to it. Later on, Arata is relaxing in his room when Banri suddenly drops by and starts praising him for keeping everything neat. He tells her to stop acting like she has never seen his room before, but she ignores that and starts asking where he keeps all of his nerdy stuff.
Stop it. Get some help.
Tell me in the comments what she means. Arata pretends not to know what she is talking about. So Banri goes straight for his browser history, which is darker than your future guys. Arata quickly grabs his laptop back and asks what she actually came here for. Banri then sits beside him on the bed and casually asks if he is interested in a couple motel visit. Sorry, she says if he wants to go out with her. Sometime later, the two of them end up at a phone shop. Banri reminds him that he had been wanting to replace his old phone. But guys, Arata is too distracted by her two plots. He finally tells her to stop messing with him just as a store employee walks over and starts showing him the newest model like it is some life-changing miracle. Arata ends up agreeing to buy it pretty quickly, and the employee leaves to get everything ready. Banri asks why he picked one so fast without even caring about the color. Arata says he does not really care how a phone looks as long as it works well. Banri says that is at least a sensible way to think, but then warns him not to use that same logic when it comes to dating, because attraction still matters. Right then, the employee comes back and mentions that couples get a discount on new phones. Arata immediately tries to correct the misunderstanding, but Banri grabs onto him and plays along like they are actually together. Not long after, they leave with the phone. But Arata is still confused about why Banri keeps acting like this when she definitely does not need to save money, because they are rich, but you are not. After that, Banri decides they should get ice cream. But guys, Arata is watching Banri how he eats the ice cream. While they are eating, she suggests bringing some home for the others, but Arata points out that it would melt before they even got back. That reminds Banri of an old argument Minami and Oka once had over ice cream. She also remembers how Kotono used to disappear whenever the others started fighting. Arata tells her not to tease Kotono, since she also used to hide whenever anyone talked about ghosts in the house. Then Banri admits the real reason she brought him out. She says she wanted him to feel comfortable enough to talk to her if anything was bothering him. Arata tells her there is nothing he really wants to say. In response, Banri snaps a picture of them together and sends it to the family group chat. Kotono sees the photo and almost sends a message complimenting Arata, but she stops herself because she does not want to come off as weird. Meanwhile, Banri and Arata finish their ice cream, and she suggests going somewhere else next. But the second she gets a text, her mood changes completely, and she decides to end the outing there. Arata tells her she should just find a real boyfriend instead of dragging him around whenever she feels like going out. Around that same time, Minami calls Banri to thank her for checking whether anything is going on between Arata and Ouka. Then she sends a message saying she probably misunderstood what she saw, and that Ouka was likely not asking Arata out after all. The problem is that Minami sends it to the family group chat by mistake. She panics and deletes it right away, just before Aka shows up. But Kotono already saw the message first, and now her heart is racing. The next evening during dinner, Arata notices right away that Seiha seems distracted, and it reminds him of the same look she had earlier at the station. Much later, when he is heading back inside, he finds her standing on the stairs with that exact same expression. This time, he asks if something is bothering her, though he nearly backs out of the question because he worries it might sound strange. To his surprise, Seiha says yes, but instead of opening up normally, she asks whether he wants to play Body Twister. Arata is thrown off and asks why she picked a game like that. Seiha then admits that what happened the other night left her confused, and she still has not sorted out what she is feeling. She says this is the only way she can figure out whether that moment meant nothing, or whether it stirred up something real inside her. Arata gets even more uneasy and instinctively tries to pull back, but Seiha tells him to stop overreacting and just go with it. Not long after, they start playing, but Arata stays stiff the whole time and keeps trying not to get too close to her. Seiha notices that immediately and points out that getting tangled up is literally how the game works. After a while, Arata starts telling himself he is probably just making this bigger than it is. He tries to calm down and treat it like a normal game, but that mindset does not last very long. Every new move makes things more awkward for him, while Seiha stays calm and keeps talking about feelings, almost like she is testing a theory. Eventually, the tension becomes too much for him. After every awkward moment, you imagine guys, Seiha suddenly ends the game. She says she has thought it through and does not believe she has romantic feelings for him after all. Then she thanks him for helping her figure it out and leaves. while Arata remains behind trying to process the whole mess. A little later, Oka walks in and asks what was going on since she heard some gawk gawk sound from outside. Arata brushes it off and says it was nothing. Oka then asks if he wants to play something with her too. He agrees, though he is half expecting another bizarre situation. Luckily, she just wants to play a regular game and instantly starts showing how good she is. She overwhelms him for a while, and Arata is genuinely surprised by how skilled she turns out to be. He even realizes she is way better than he ever thought back when they were younger. Once Oka starts getting a little too proud of herself, Arata decides to stop holding back and completely turns the match around. After taking a brutal loss, Oka says she needs a break, but before leaving, she grabs him from behind to mess with him for beating her so badly. Arata tries to shake her off, but she keeps clinging to him, so he ends up flipping her over and pinning her down instead. That sudden change catches both of them off guard. Arata instantly gets flustered and tries to act like it means nothing, while Oka quietly admits she did not expect that side of him. I think guys, she expect more from him. She leaves the room soon after and takes a moment alone to calm herself, because the moment hit her harder than she expected. A few minutes later, Arata also decides he is done thinking in circles and heads out, without realizing that Kotono had secretly watched everything from inside a closet. The next day, after school, their father calls Arata into his office and asks how everyone is dealing with the truth that they are not related by blood. Arata says that, from his point of view, nothing important has changed about the family. Then his father suddenly asks whether he has fallen for someone. At the same time, the girls are together after catching up on the latest episode of a romance show, and they begin talking about what might happen next in the story. Kotono stays quiet through most of it, clearly stuck in her own thoughts after everything that has happened over the past few days. Eventually, just as the others are about to go inside, she stops them and admits that she is in love with Arata. Banri quickly tries to smooth it over by saying it is natural to care deeply about a brother, but Kotono immediately sees what she is doing and refuses to let her feelings get brushed aside. She tells them to stop acting like she is confused or childish, then clearly says that what she feels is real. She even declares that she wants a serious future with Arata and will not back down if someone tries to stand in her way. While the girls are left stunned by that confession, Arata is still talking with their father and starts wondering why he suddenly cares so much about his love life. His father says he is only looking out for him. Arata then admits that things have never gone well for him in romance. His father replies that finding the right person usually takes time. Arata asks what made their mother the right one for him, and after pausing for a moment, his father says it was her personality. Before their conversation ends, his father mentions that there is a special room he wants to show all of them someday when the time is right. Arata then tells him not to worry, because no matter what truths come out or how things shift, he and the others will still stay a family. A few days later, Arata is heading out for exercise when he runs into Minami on her way to practice. She quickly starts making excuses so she can leave, but Arata notices and asks if she is okay, since she has been acting strange ever since the other night. That instantly makes Minami nervous, because she starts wondering if he somehow found out about Kotono. Even so, she brushes it off, says she is fine, and rushes off before he can ask anything else. Not long after, Banri is outside trying to teach the dog to behave when Arata comes over and asks why she is already dressed to go out. Banri says she has something important to deal with at college. Arata then tries to help by getting the dog under control too, but it goes badly for him almost right away. Then Shion shows up, and Banri apologizes for not being able to make breakfast for him. Shion tells her not to worry. Later, at the school courts, everyone watches in amazement as Minami plays at an unbelievable level and completely overwhelms her opponents. All through practice, her mind is still stuck on Kotono's confession, and everything that might happen because of it. After practice ends, she sits down to rest, but three girls immediately run over and beg her to teach them how to improve. Minami makes up a bunch of vague advice just to get them to leave her alone. Then she spots an upperclassman named Nao, and challenges her to a friendly match, which Nao happily accepts. A little while later, Nao has pushed herself as hard as she can, but it still is not enough to beat Minami. Afterward, the two of them talk, and Minami admits she is going to miss playing against her. Nao tells her she better get used to it, since she will be graduating in a year. That means they will not be playing together again unless Minami reaches the pro level someday. Nao then admits that, when Minami first joined the team, she assumed she was just some spoiled rich girl. But after seeing how hard Minami worked and how quickly she improved, she realized Minami was serious. Minami calls her cheesy for saying all that, and now immediately challenges her to another match. Later, while they are playing again, Minami overhears the other girls talking about how Nao did not get any tennis scholarships, which means she probably will not be going pro. Thinking about all the ways Nao helped her grow, Minami quietly decides she has to win the gold medal for her no matter what. That same day, Arata returns home and asks where Minami is. He eventually finds her in the training room. At first, the look on his face makes her uneasy, but then he offers to help her prepare for her upcoming tournament. Minami tries to act like there is nothing to worry about, but Arata asks why she has been hiding her injury, which catches her off guard. It turns out, the maid saw her wrapping it earlier and told him. Arata then says she should find someone she trusts and talk honestly with them, but he still wants to help her train however he can. Around the same time, Oka is thinking back to what happened after Kodono confessed. Once Kodono said how she felt and left, the others first tried to blame it on the romance movie they had just watched, but Seiha quickly shut that down and reminded them Kodono had been completely serious. Banri still thought they should let it go for now, and give Kodono more time to sort out her feelings. As Oka keeps wondering what comes next, Arata starts helping Minami stretch, so he can figure out exactly where she is hurting. While doing that, Arata suddenly realizes Minami does not feel like just a little sister anymore in the way he used to think of her. The thought catches him off guard, and he immediately shakes it away. After that, he warns her not to push herself too hard during matches, because a serious injury could damage her future. A little later, Arata is heading upstairs when he runs into Kodono. Seeing how nervous she looks, he assumes she is still embarrassed about what happened in the bathroom before, so he tries to ease the mood with a small comment. But just as he is about to leave, Kodono asks whether he was with Minami a moment ago. When he says yes, she hesitates and then asks if anything strange happened between them. Arata panics for a second, thinking she somehow knows about the injury, and asks what she means. Kodono immediately gets flustered, tells him not to worry about it, and runs off before saying anything more. A few days later, Minami's tournament finally arrives, and the team heads out to compete. Once the matches begin, she crushes every player in front of her, driven by her determination to bring Nao a gold medal. By the end of the day, everyone praises how well she played, including Nao. But while walking back to the bus, Minami suddenly feels pain from her injury, and Nao catches it immediately. That night, Arata asks whether she can really handle the finals in that condition. Minami brushes it off and says it is under control, insisting she will deal with it properly. About a week later, Arata comes downstairs for breakfast and asks Banri if Minami already left, since it is nearly time for the next tournament match. Banri says she has not seen her. Then Seiha comes over, asking the same thing, since Minami's shoes are still sitting by the entrance. Before long, everyone is saying they cannot find her, and Arata realizes Minami is nowhere around. While they are still trying to figure out where she went, Minami suddenly walks in like nothing happened. Everyone goes silent. When Arata asks why she has not gone to the tournament, she calmly says she is not playing anymore, and heads inside to eat as if it means nothing. A little later, Arata goes to speak with her, because he cannot believe how casually she is acting after being removed from such a major match. Minami explains that the coach sent her home after Nao told him about her injury. She keeps saying she is fine with it, but Arata can tell she is hiding how she really feels. When he asks why the match mattered so much to her, she still avoids giving a clear answer, so Arata goes to find Shion. The moment he hears that Minami is pretending not to care, Shion says it is obviously an act. Earlier that morning, he saw her crying by herself because of the tournament. He explains that Minami has always been the kind of person who covers up her own pain, so nobody else has to worry. Hearing that, Arata rushes back and tells her to get ready. Soon after, Minami comes out and sees the whole family waiting for her. They all gave up their own plans just so they could support her. Everyone gets into the car, and Banri nervously asks them to behave since it is her first real-time driving. While the others argue about directions, Minami starts getting scared that her injury really could keep her from playing. She also remembers how crushed she felt when Nao and the coach first told her she was out. Then Arata steps up and gives her a heartfelt push. He tells her to stop the second she feels pain and to quit acting like she has to carry everything alone, because they all want to be there for her too. But their energy drops fast when they realize the match has already started and they are still trapped in traffic. To make things worse, Minami's team has already lost 2 matches, so their chance at gold is barely hanging on. Still stuck on the road, they keep arguing over the fastest way to reach the venue. Then they spot rental bikes nearby, and Seiha remembers she has the app to unlock them. Arata immediately grabs one, takes Minami with him, and rushes off toward the tournament by himself. While they race there, Nao helps the team earn its first win, but the next player is nowhere near Minami's level, and Nao realizes they are close to losing everything. Then Minami finally arrives. Still breathing hard, she reaches the court while Arata pleads with the coach to let her play. He promises she is ready and says he will pull her out immediately if anything goes wrong. The coach hesitates, but after Nao speaks up for her, he finally gives in. Minami steps onto the court, but fear hits her at the last moment and nearly shakes her confidence. Then she hears Shion and the rest of the family cheering for her, and it helps her steady herself. Remembering all the work she put in, she throws everything she has into the match. From the first point onward, she takes control and slowly overwhelms her opponent. After an exhausting battle, she wins. Even so, that victory is not enough to erase the team's earlier losses, so they still come up short in the end. Afterward, Minami apologizes for not getting there sooner, forcing a smile so nobody will worry about her. Then Nao walks over. Minami braces herself for criticism, but Nao simply thanks her. She says the team would never have even reached the finals without Minami's effort, so she needs to stop blaming herself. Nao adds that she truly valued all the time they spent training together. And that is what finally makes Minami break down emotionally. Much later, Arata heads to a nearby park to look for Minami. When he finally finds her, she tries to act like losing the match she had spent months preparing for does not really matter. She tells him about her conversation with Nao, and says everyone should have just admitted she let the team down instead of pretending she had helped. Arata can see right through that. When Minami notices the concern on his face, she says she is fine and tries to walk away, but he suddenly stops her with a hug. He tells her she does not need to hide how she really feels anymore. That finally breaks the wall she had been holding up, and she lets all her pain out. Through tears, she admits the loss made all her effort feel worthless. A few days later, while taking a shower, Minami thinks back on how Arata stayed by her side through all of it, and she starts to understand why Kotano feels so strongly about him. Around that same time, Oka is still upset because she thinks the judges were unfair to Minami. While talking with Banri and Seiha, she keeps insisting Minami was the real winner. Then she asks Arata what he thinks, and he tells her to stop dragging it out so Minami can move on cleanly. Just then, Minami walks in, and Oka immediately asks whether she still feels wrong. Minami says she is over it now. After thanking everyone for coming to support her, she sits down, but Oka is still too worked up to let it go. Minami tries not to look at Arata, but he suddenly asks whether she remembered to use warm water since she is still recovering. That simple comment catches her completely off guard, and she barely manages to answer without freezing up. Meanwhile, Oka keeps trying to prove her point by acting out part of the match. The dog mistakes it for a game and jumps in, turning everything into chaos until Oka gets annoyed and throws the ball away. It almost hits Minami, but Arata steps in and protects her before scolding Oka. That moment brings back the memory of the park for Minami, and once Kotano's confession also crosses her mind, her heart skips. That is when she starts realizing she may have feelings for Arata too. Later, Oka goes to Kotano's room. Kotano is surprised, since everyone has been keeping some distance from her after the confession. At the same time, Minami quietly admits her feelings to the dog, figuring it is safe because he cannot tell anyone. But then Arata appears and asks what she is doing, which makes her panic. She quickly runs off, so she does not have to face him. Back in Kotano's room, Oka looks around for a bit before deciding she is done avoiding the subject. She asks Kotano what she really wants. Once the confession comes up, Oka asks if Kotano truly is in love with Arata, but Kotano turns it around and says Oka should stop pretending, because she thinks Oka has feelings for him too. Oka is caught off guard, so Kotano brings up the message Minami accidentally posted in the family group chat earlier. She also points to what happened in the game room as proof. Oka then explains what actually happened that night at the park. She reminds Kotano that nothing happened between her and Arata, which should make it obvious she is not chasing him that way. Hearing that makes Kotano visibly relieved, and she apologizes for misunderstanding Oka's relationship with him. A couple nights later, Banri asks Oka and Seiha to come with her to college because she needs to pick something up, but both of them refuse and tell her to find someone else. After pacing around for a while, trying to think of another option, she spots Arata and immediately asks him instead. Just like she expected, he agrees, and the two of them head to the campus together. After they slip inside, their Mission Impossible starts. Banri explains that security normally does not let anyone in after dark, but she left an important document there and needed help getting it back. As they move through the building, she admits she was too nervous to come alone. Arata asks why she chose medicine in the first place, since that kind of path must come with a lot of hard moments. Banri says she can handle almost anything except ghosts. As they keep walking, Banri clings tightly to him because she is scared. Arata awkwardly asks for a little space, but she is too shaken to let go. A bit later, Banri asks him to tell her a story so she can stay distracted. Instead, Arata quickly pulls her into a corner and keeps her close because a security guard is passing nearby. Banri is startled and tries to move, but he tells her to stay still until the guard leaves. Once the danger passes, he lets go and apologizes. Banri reminds him that they still have to find the document, so they continue deeper into the building. A little later, Banri leads Arata into a club room and picks up a stuffed toy, which makes him realize they snuck into the school for something far less serious than she claimed. Since she also lied about the document, he asks whether she is actually serious about becoming a doctor. Banri says she is, then starts talking about the day her class visited a nearby hospital for training. While she was there, she noticed another group of students spending time with sick children. Curious, she asked about them and learned they were volunteers from her college too. That inspired her to join them. Before long, Banri became a regular visitor at the hospital, and often brought handmade toys for the kids. She then tells Arata about when she used to visit their mother in the hospital, and how painful those memories were for her. During that period, she met a nurse who helped her realize she wanted to support people through medicine. As they leave, Arata asks why she did not just tell him that from the start. Banri apologizes for making up the excuse, but by the look on his face, she realizes she may have pushed the teasing too far. Before she can say much more, Arata quickly starts walking ahead so she will not notice how flustered he is. The following week at school, test results are handed back in Aka's class. Just like always, her classmates rush over to ask how she did. She calmly says she got her usual perfect score, so they praise her and move on. In reality, Oka is panicking because this is the first time she has ever gotten such a low grade. A few days later, on Saturday morning, Arata is surprised to see Oka fully dressed with a packed bag. When he asks where she is going, she casually says she is leaving for a while. He assumes it is just another short trip like usual. But by Tuesday, he starts getting worried because nobody has heard from her, and no one knows when she is coming back. Shion and the others continue going to school and acting normal so people do not get suspicious. Meanwhile, Arata ends up getting swarmed with questions because Oka's friends are concerned, since she never disappears this long without a clear reason. That evening, Oka takes a bath and gets ready to return home, but then suddenly changes her mind and decides to stay away longer. Back at the house, everyone starts getting nervous because she has never done this before. Then Banri remembers that she once installed a tracking app on their phones in case someone ever got lost. When she checks Aka's location, she is shocked to see that Aka is near Mount Fuji. The others get scared too, because going that far alone feels lonely. Even though Banri tries to ease the tension with a joke, they all agree Oka needs to come back before staying gone any longer starts causing problems at school. A few minutes later, Arata packs what he needs and decides to go bring her back himself. The others worry, because it will be very late by the time he reaches the mountain. Arata admits it is risky, but says someone has to go, so he heads out anyway and catches the last bus of the day. Hours later, Arata is climbing a trail on the mountain and realizes Aka likely took the same route. That only makes him more uneasy, so he keeps going. At home, Minami is still checking his location on the phone, but when she goes into the kitchen for water, Kodono quietly says she is worried about Arata. Minami reassures her and says he will be fine, reminding her that Arata trains constantly and can handle himself. Before long, Arata finally reaches the main lodge, and Aka is stunned to see him there because he must have come all the way from the station on foot. He acts like it was nothing, asks for a room, and messages everyone at home so they can stop worrying. A little later, he enters Oka's room and starts wondering why he did not just get a separate one. I think he came only to sleep with her, since being around her like this makes everything feel more awkward. Then Aka starts getting ready for bed, so he quickly looks away and tries to stay composed. After Aka settles in, Arata asks why she suddenly left home and refused to come back. She does not answer at first, but when he says they need to leave tomorrow, she tells him she chose to stay longer on purpose, though she still refuses to explain why. Once he gets into bed, Aka suddenly says their father first met their mother on this mountain. She adds that he even had to carry her down because she could not handle the height. Arata has no idea where this conversation is going, and then Aka asks whether he would ever accept one of his sisters if fate somehow said that person was meant for him. The question catches him off guard, so he asks why she would suddenly bring that up. Oka reminds him about Kodano confessing to him, and that makes him relax a little, since for a second he thought Aka was about to say something similar. Even so, he still wants to know what any of that has to do with her leaving home. But by then, Aka has already fallen asleep. Arata watches the view of heaven for a moment, then pulls the blanket over her before settling down, doing nothing just like you who is watching. The next day, Arata finds a message from Aka saying she already returned home. He immediately doubts it, so he contacts Banri and asks her to check the tracker again. Just like he expected, Oka is still somewhere up on the mountain, so he leaves right away to look for her himself. Sometime later, a pair of hikers notice Oka standing near the peak and get a bad feeling, since they have seen her hanging around that same area for several days straight. As the fog starts getting thicker, they decide to head back down and mention that another route nearby can become dangerous once the mist hides everything. Oka only catches bits of that warning and lingers there a little longer before finally deciding to move. Not long after that, she realizes she has gone the wrong way. The path markers are no longer visible through the fog, and she cannot figure out where she is. Thinking the safest move is to return to the summit, she turns back, but loses her balance and falls into a lower section of the slope. When she tries to pull herself out, a strong pain in her leg stops her from climbing any farther. By then, Arata has reached the top. After checking the area and not finding her anywhere, he assumes she already headed down and starts making his way back to the lodge. But once he arrives, he finds out Aka never came back. He quickly calls Banri again, but this time, she says the tracker is no longer picking up any signal. After her fall, Oka's phone must have gone completely offline. As Oka drifts in and out of consciousness, she remembers the day their father handed her a pair of earrings that once belonged to their mother. While telling her the story of how he first met their mother, he said that maybe she would one day meet her first love on that very mountain too. When Aka wakes up, she sees that her power bank is empty and her phone is useless without signal. Stranded and alone, she slowly begins to accept the idea that nobody is coming. Even when Arata comes to mind, she convinces herself he must have already given up and gone home. Then one of her earrings slips away. While searching for it, the light glinting off it ends up giving away her location, and that is what leads Arata straight to her. The second she sees him, she feels a rush of relief, but at the same time, her father's old words come back to her. She also remembers being younger and coming home from school excited to tell their father about her day. He asked her to wait a little while he finished working, then made snacks, sat down beside her, and listened to every small thing she wanted to talk about. Not long before this trip, he had reminded her that she could always come to him if she ever needed to talk, but she brushed him off and left anyway. Back in the present, Aka is stunned that Arata actually found her. She tries to stand and ask him why he came, but the pain in her leg hits again, and she nearly falls over. Arata checks the injury, then calmly says he is carrying her back. Oka refuses at first, and tells him to just show her the right trail. But Arata tells her to stop arguing so they can get out safely. With no better option, she climbs onto his back and warns him not to say anything about her weight. Arata replies that she is light, adding that this must be close to what their father felt when he carried their mother down the mountain. As he starts heading back, Banri gets even more anxious because Arata's signal disappears too, and the weather report says the conditions are only getting worse. Since neither of them is replying to any messages, their father cancels his flight so he can return home. While Banri and Seiha keep trying to figure out what to do, Minami becomes more and more uneasy. Shion tells her Arata can handle it. At the same time, Kodano quietly prays for both of them and keeps wondering what pushed Aka to leave in the first place. Before long, Arata gets back onto the right route, though the return trip is still exhausting with Oka depending on him. Burdened by guilt, she finally explains what drove her to come all the way to the mountain. She says she had watched a video about people feeling the presence of loved ones they had lost at the summit, and she wanted to go there herself in the hope of somehow reaching their mother. When Arata asks what she found, Oka's emotions spill over. She says nothing happened, and deep down she feels it never could have. because now she cannot stop thinking that she was never truly her daughter to begin with. She admits that ever since the truth about their family came out, even her bond with their father has started to feel different. Memories that once felt comforting now seem distant, like they belong to someone else, since she cannot speak honestly about any of it at school either. All that confusion just kept building until even her grades started falling apart. Harada listens without interrupting and lets her empty out everything she has been carrying. But when her words become more hopeless, and she starts sounding like she has completely lost her footing in life, he finally speaks up. Oka then asks why he would go that far for her when they are not tied by blood in the first place. After thinking for a moment, Arata reminds her of the promise they made long ago to protect one another, no matter what happened. Oka is surprised he still remembers it. Arata tells her that promise still matters to him, whether or not they are biologically related. After that, they make their way back to the lodge, gather their belongings, and ride a bus toward home. Once they arrive, Oka immediately starts putting that same wall back up and acts like she does not need anyone. Arata is about to challenge her on it, but before he can say anything, Banri and the others show up. Clearly shaken from worrying the whole time, Banri hurries over and checks both of them carefully to make sure they are unharmed. Once she is satisfied, everyone gets into the car together. On the drive back, Arata eventually drifts off and ends up resting against Oka. That makes her remember an older moment when she used to lecture him about manners and how he should carry himself. By the time they finally reach home, everyone is exhausted and ready to collapse, but Oka suddenly realizes something is wrong. Harada will not wake up, and he is burning with fever. The whole house erupts in panic, and Shion quickly carries him upstairs so they can keep watch over him. Their father returns not long after, but his first concern is Oka after she disappeared so suddenly. Once she assures him that she is all right, he tells the others to get some sleep and says Arata should recover. Much later, he is sitting alone in his office looking through old photographs when Oka comes in to talk. It has been a long time since she approached him like that, so he is visibly caught off guard. Oka tells him about everything she felt on the mountain and promises that she wants to start spending time with him again the way they used to. That clearly hits him hard, and the two of them end up embracing. The next day, Oka returns to school, but the reaction she gets is not what she expected. Instead of focusing on where she had been, everyone is more curious about why Arata is absent. Minami keeps throwing out excuses and redirecting the conversation so nobody presses too hard. Even so, she feels guilty inside, believing Arata would not have become sick if she had managed her own feelings better. That night, Banri prepares a special bowl of porridge for Arata. Both Minami and Kotono want to be the one to bring it to him, but Banri chooses Minami and quietly reminds the others that they need to be careful about letting Kotono get too close for the time being. Later, once she is ready for bed, Oka goes to Arata's room by herself. She apologizes for everything her actions caused, and admits that one of the main reasons she ran away was because she still cannot make sense of the feelings she has for him. She softly says the things she has kept buried inside, then wishes him good night and leaves. The second she is gone, Arata opens his eyes. He is left in shock, realizing he had been awake at the end and heard words she never meant for him to hear. A few days later, Banri takes the whole family on a drive to an old villa their father bought as a vacation place. The moment they arrive, everyone rushes inside to see whether it still feels the same as they remember. A little later, Arata stands alone on the balcony, thinking back to how he used to end up sleeping on the floor there sometimes. Out of nowhere, Banri hooks herself around his arm and comments that things have changed a lot since then. Arata instantly pulls back and tells her to quit messing with him. Banri laughs it off and says she will ease up on the teasing for now. After she walks away, Arata notices Oka talking with Kotono, and starts wondering what is really going on in her mind. The whole thing almost feels unreal, like what happened between them was some strange dream, because Oka has gone right back to acting completely normal. She looks as calm and unaffected as ever. Arata, meanwhile, cannot get it out of his head and keeps wondering what it means for the two of them now. Oka notices the troubled look on his face, and walks over to ask if he is all right. Just being near her again makes Arata lose his nerve, so he quickly leaves before he says something awkward. Earlier, on the way to the villa, Shion had stopped at a certain station to take care of something personal. But when he finally reached the place he had been searching for, he learned the people he wanted to meet were already gone. Back in the present, Arata is in the shower, hoping the hot water will help him clear his head. Then Shion walks in, saying he forgot to lock the door behind him. he tells Arata that he had gone looking for his biological parents, hoping to learn something about where he came from and why he ended up in an orphanage. After explaining that he found their old place empty, Shion admits it still hurt, even though he never really knew them. He then asks Arata whether he has ever wanted to know who his real parents are. Arata says he has never felt any need to look. To him, their father and sisters are the only family that matters, and he has no interest in chasing after people who abandoned him. Shion thanks him for listening, hands him a towel, and leaves. Arata stays there for a moment, quietly thinking about what they talked about. Later that night, everyone gathers around the grill to start making dinner. Aka chats with Shion the same way she always does, which only leaves Arata even more confused, because she seems completely unfazed while he is still stuck thinking about everything. Meanwhile, Minami is completely focused on showing off the skirt she bought. The next morning, Oka wakes up earlier than usual and notices Arata has already gone out for his usual exercise. But instead of going through one of his intense workouts, he decides to spend time in the sauna to loosen up and calm down. He is hoping the quiet heat will help settle his thoughts. Still, before long, his mind drifts back to Oka again, and he decides that is enough. The moment he steps out, he sees Oka there, and it becomes clear she has been watching the whole time. Since she does not know he was awake the night before, Arata tries to stay composed and act normal. But that plan quickly starts falling apart when Aoka challenges him to a sauna endurance contest. At first, he tries to turn it down, but then he worries refusing might make her suspicious, so he agrees. Almost immediately, he regrets it. Sitting that close to her again puts him completely on edge, and no matter how hard he tries to stay calm, the situation only makes him more aware of how tense things have become between them. Right after that, Oka asks Arata whether he has ever thought about getting a girlfriend. Arata shuts the idea down immediately and says romance is not something he is focused on right now. He insists he has bigger goals and does not want to get distracted by that kind of thing. Not long after, the heat gets to him, so he steps out of the sauna to cool down. Oka follows him, but instead of checking whether he is okay, she asks whether he still has feelings for the girl he used to like. When he says he is over it, Oka suddenly seems relieved and heads off to take a shower. Even though she acts calm on the outside, Oka's real feelings come out once she is alone. She starts wondering why she keeps dropping hints around Arata and worries that she might give herself away if she keeps it up. At the same time, thinking back on how easily they have always understood each other makes her realize these feelings did not appear overnight. They have been building for a long time, and they are not going away. While Oka is caught up in those thoughts, Minami is also making plans of her own. She comes up with an excuse to spend time alone with Arata and asks him to go with her to a flower garden. As soon as they arrive, Arata looks around and is surprised. Since he never expected Minami to be interested in a place like this, he starts suspecting there is another reason she wanted to come, so he asks if something special is going on. Minami quickly says she just likes flowers. Arata is caught off guard again when he notices how dressed up she is, but he tells himself not to read too much into it. Then, a few minutes later, he realizes the garden is known as a popular date spot. While he is still trying to figure out what she is really after, Minami suddenly asks what kind of person he could imagine marrying someday. Arata is startled and asks why she wants to know that all of a sudden. Minami says that seeing all the couples around them just made her curious. Arata answers that he would want someone he feels at ease with, someone who understands the kind of person he is, especially since he would probably spend a lot of time working. Still suspicious, Arata notices the tag sticking out from Minami's skirt and points it out. He offers to help remove it, but Minami tries handling it herself first and struggles for a while before finally giving up. Arata steps in and manages to take care of it, which leaves Minami completely embarrassed. After that awkward moment passes, she quickly bounces back and starts taking cheerful photos like nothing happened. Then she suddenly tells Arata that she recently fell for someone. Hearing that, Arata finally thinks he understands what has been going on. He assumes she has just been using him as practice before talking to the person she actually likes. That idea oddly makes him relax, and he tells her he is willing to help however he can. A little later, Minami goes into a shop to look around, and when Arata follows her inside, he realizes she also wants to buy something for him. He tries to stop her, but she insists, saying it is her way of thanking him for everything he has done. Weeks later, Banri takes the whole family on another trip. This time to a waterfall they used to visit often when they were younger. Everyone gets excited right away, and the girls hurry off to change while the others start setting things up. Some nearby visitors cannot help staring because the group stands out so much, and I think you know why they stand out. Before long, Arata goes into the water with Shion, who tells him that some guys from school had actually offered him money just for a chance to hang out with the girls. Shion says the whole thing was weird, and Arata brushes it off at first, saying people are exaggerating. But Shion points out that the girls really do attract attention, especially once they are all together like this. A little later, Oka gets tired of waiting around and jumps straight into the water. Seiha calls her reckless, but Oka reminds her that they used to be the first ones in every time when they were younger. Then Oka turns to Arata and asks whether he is joining too. He hesitates, which gives her the chance to tease him for losing his nerve. Minami jumps in next and tells Arata he has to come too, so he finally agrees. Once they are all in the water, the mood starts feeling a little more normal again. For a moment, Arata finds himself remembering what trips like this used to feel like before everything in the family became more complicated. But that quiet thought gets interrupted when Seiha suddenly calls for help with a small wardrobe issue. Arata panics at first, but then realizes she has prepared for it and is not actually in any serious trouble. Even so, the moment still leaves him flustered and reminds him all over again how tense and awkward everything has become lately. After noticing that part of Seiha's swimsuit needs adjusting, she tries to fix it herself, but Arata stops her and tells her it is fine, since he has already seen enough awkwardness for one day. He quickly looks away and tries to clear his mind, but the whole situation still leaves him flustered. A little later, Banri shows Oka and Minami how to prepare rice properly. After that, she asks Arata to come swimming with her, saying she was too busy helping earlier to join everyone else. At first, he resists, but in the end, he follows her into the water anyway. Meanwhile, people nearby are still watching the group from a distance, clearly drawn in by how much attention they naturally attract. After a while, Banri says she is tired and asks Arata to help her out of the water. He tries not to give in right away, but eventually helps her back toward shore. As they move along, Banri asks whether he wants to talk about everything that has been weighing on him lately. Even then, Arata keeps quiet and says nothing about what happened with Oka. Banri also chooses not to bring up Kotono's confession, since Arata still has no idea she told the others how she feels. When they get closer to the waterfall, Banri tells him to go farther in, but Arata immediately refuses and says that would be reckless. Banri keeps pushing, and the two nearly lose their balance, though they manage to recover before anything serious happens. In the middle of that, Banri suddenly asks what he would do if she ever said she loved him. But when she realizes he did not really hear her because he is busy and enjoying the view of two mountains, she drops the subject and goes back to playing in the water. Not far away, though, Kotono catches the whole moment. Much later, Kotono meets Arata near the van and asks if he will walk with her to the vending machine so she can get a snack. Arata agrees, thinking it will be nothing important. But after a short while, he realizes this is the first time they have really been alone since the bathroom incident, which makes things feel tense. Trying to fill the silence, he reminds her to be careful near the water so she does not get swept away like before. Kotono tells him that happened a long time ago and that she is not the same timid person anymore. At the machine, Arata notices she seems troubled and gently tells her she can talk to him if something is bothering her. That opens her up, and she admits she feels guilty about Aka running away the other day. Arata quickly tells her not to blame herself and reassures her that everyone still cares about her no matter what she is feeling. Hearing him say that brings back an old memory for Kotono. She remembers one of their childhood trips when she wandered too far into the water and nearly drowned. While nobody else noticed in time, Arata jumped in without hesitation and pulled her back safely. When she apologized, he told her it was his job to help her whenever she was in trouble. That memory reminds her all over again why he means so much to her. After that, they head back, and Banri suggests everyone start packing up so they can rest before the evening event. Later that night, they all get dressed and head out to a ceremony lit by rows of candles. The atmosphere feels beautiful and calm, and for a moment, Arata tries to convince himself that nothing between them has really changed. Despite everything that has happened lately, that fragile sense of peace does not last. While walking around a little later, he spots Kotono speaking quietly with Oka and Minami. Curious, he hides nearby and listens. Kotono starts by apologizing for how sudden her confession was and for worrying everyone. Arata feels relieved at first, thinking she may finally be stepping back, but then she makes her position even clearer. She says she hates being treated like her feelings are childish or meaningless, and insists that what she feels for Arata is real. She says she still intends to stand by those feelings. As Arata is still trying to take that in, Minami shocks the others by admitting that she feels the same way. Oka stares at her in disbelief and asks whether she is serious, but Minami says she is done hiding what is in her heart. Kotono is stunned too, yet Minami firmly says they should all be honest instead of pretending otherwise. Then Oka also admits that she has feelings for Arata and decides she will not stay silent either. Even so, the three of them promise that no matter what happens, they will continue supporting one another as sisters. Tell me in the comments guys, who he would choose for the final, or he would pick 5 of them. So that it for today's video. Watch the following video and I will catch you in the next one.